Next is confidentiality and non-disclosure policy. Confidentiality and non-disclosure policy means is a legal framework that establishes a confidential relationship between parties to protect any type of confidential and proprietary information or trade secret. This policy ensures not to disclose, utilize, or otherwise use information covered by agreement for any other purpose than as defined in the agreement. So confidentiality and non-disclosure policy means, let's say in the HR perspective. So you will be having some agreement. So as a HR department of the organization, you will be having the agreement with third party. Third party means, let's say some insurance company. So you will be having some agreement with insurance company and HR department, saying what kind of agreement means. So and so is the number of employees in the organization, and so and so is the salary details of that organization, and so and so is the salary details of the employees. So this much amount is contributed as a insurance to that particular for each and every employees. So that will be, that information should not be disclosed to any other organization or any other employees in the particular organization, or the employees in other organizations. So that will be the agreement between HR department and insurance company. So that should not be that will be the agreement between two parties. So that confidential information, that is the number of employees for whom the organization is paying the insurance money, and what is the salary details of that particular employees, that will not be disclosed by the other organization. That will not be disclosed, that should not be disclosed by the insurance company to any other organization or any other competitor organization or any other employees within the organization. Okay, so that is the confidentiality and non-disclosure policy between two parties. The next is confidential information. Confidential information is the business information that provides a company with the business edges. It includes customer list, pricing sensitivity or marketing information, marketing strategy, and patent invention, software, formulas and recipes, techniques and processes. So here they have given few confidential information of a business organization. So apart from that, many other confidential information are there. I have explained you in the perspective of HR. So they have given what are all the confidential information an organization will maintain. First is customer list, pricing sensitivity or marketing information, marketing strategy, and patent invention, software, formulas and recipes, technique and processes. So these are all the confidential information where they will be having agreement between two parties that the third party should not reveal the information to any other competitive organization or any other employees working within the organization or unauthorized person. So they should not reveal the information to an unauthorized person. Next is principles of confidentiality. Should not be disclosed outside of the particular business entity, known only by employees and others involved in the business, subject to reasonable measures to guard the secrecy of the information, valuable, difficult for others to properly acquire or independently duplicate. So these are the principles of confidential information. What should be the principles? The first one is it is a secret information, so that should not be disclosed to any other third party apart from the business entity. Next is that secrecy should be known only to the authorized employees. That is, you and me, we are working in the HR department. So whatever the information which is confidential means that information only you and me should know in the HR department. So no other person apart from the HR department should not know about the information. So or any unauthorized person apart from the HR department should not involved in the confidentiality of that information. Next is subject to reasonable measures to guard the secrecy of information. Valuable, difficult for others to properly acquire or independently duplicate. So your information should be protected in a way that it should not be easily duplicated. It should not be easily duplicatable. So your information should be protected in a way that it should not duplicate in an easy manner. So you should know the value of the information. Next, non-disclosure policy for new employees. So this non-disclosure policy is only for new employees. So what is the non-disclosure policy of new employees? Say for example, new employees, if the new employee is an experienced person and that a new employee is worked with somewhere else, with the other organization or your competitor or organization, in that competitor organization, that particular employee is worked. So you have hired that employee. So what this non-disclosure policy is defining means that new employee should not use any of the information or any of the property that belongs to the prior employer. So whatever the property or whatever the information that the employee is used in the previous organization, that information or that properties should not be used in the current organization. And not only that, there is, the scope, that is the scope or the job will be changed. No, even though the employee is doing the similar kind of job, that say for example, I am doing the HR job. So whatever the organization, so in the previous organization itself, I have done the HR job. In the current organization also, I am doing the HR job. So there is a scope of work. The scope will be different. Maybe I would have done only payroll in the previous organization. In this organization or in the current organization, I may do payroll along with the recruitment or along with the performance appraisal. So the scope of the job may vary. So that scope or that limitation of the job, the employee should not bring to the current organization. So that is the thing this non-disclosure policy is mainly focusing on. So require new employees to comply with non-disclosure or non-compete agreement from prior job. Take affirmative step to ensure that employees complies with agreements such as reminding him or her for their obligation to former employer and instructing him or her not to bring use of any former employee's information or property. Consider changing scope of employment to ensure that new hires activity or territory do not conflict with pre-existing agreement. Look ahead, determine whether or not you will defend or dignify new employee in case of litigation and under what terms. So this is what the new non-disclosure policy of new employee is defining. Next is enforcement of policy. When an employee leaves or are terminated, remind them of their obligation in writing. Investigate their pre-termination activity. Computer use email documents accessed, removed or copied. Monitor their post-termination activity. If you suspect they are violating their restrictions, act decisively and quickly. Send cease and desist letter to employee. At outset, determine threat posed by former employee and design litigation strategy that matches company's goals. If any of the employee is leaving the organization, or if you are terminating the employee, means you have to be very careful you have to be very careful on the information of your organization. Say for example, if you are terminating an employee, means there is a high chance that the employee may disclose the information, or the employee may disclose the techniques and process. They may disclose the marketing strategy to the competitor organization. So to avoid that, what are all the steps you can do? First is remind their obligation in writing. So what you have to do as a HR means you have to get a writings from the employee who is terminated that they will not disclose the information to any of the competitor organization. Even if they disclose the information, so what will be the consequences? You have to clearly write in a document, and you have to get the signature from the employee. Next is investigate their pre-termination activity. Pre-termination activity means you have to get a NILDU certificate from every department in the organization, and before sending the employee, you have to get NILDU or no objection certificate from each and every department in the organization where this particular employee is coordinated. Next, you have to remove all the computer or whatever the device the employee was used. So that device, everything you have to remove or you have to copy. Next, monitor the post-termination activity. So you have to monitor the post-termination activity of the employees. Next, if you have any suspect that that employee is violating the agreement between the organization and employee, you have to act very quickly. So send us cease and so if you are suspecting that employee is disclosing some information to some information of your organization to your competitor organization, means you have every right to send notice or cease letter to that particular employee. At outset, determine threat posed by former employee and design litigation strategy that matches the company goals. So every organization, they will be having separate policy for not terminating, they will be having separate policy after the termination of the employees.